Happy Thursday, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight on Now. Safe injection sites. We talked about it yesterday. Safe places for intravenous drug users to go. You have a lot of opinions. We'll talk about it.
Plus, how do you feel about a tax on streaming services like Netflix or Hulu? We'll talk about that.
Plus, it's National Puppy Day, so we will have a lot of cuteness.
So much cuteness. This is News Center now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda Hill.
And I'm Lee Goldberg. Guys, we talked about this yesterday on Now, and there are opinions on top of opinions on top of opinions on our Facebook page. The idea of a safe injection space, a place where IV drug users could go to use safe needles and be monitored while they're using.
Right. It's a conversation that's popping up in cities across the country, including some that are pretty close to us. So would something like this be even possible or even accepted here in Maine? Jess, this is something you've been looking at for 2 days now, and a lot of people feel very strongly about this topic.
Yeah, that's right, Lee and Amanda. So to recap yesterday's info, safe injection spaces are places where people can go to use heroin under the supervision of medical professionals. Clean needles are provided, and staff members can administer Narcan if someone is overdosing, and they also provide access to treatment. Now, as of now, these only exist outside the United States, but some cities are pushing forward on making it happen. Seattle is one of those cities here. The health board voted in January to move forward on plans for 2 safe injection sites there. Then yesterday, a state much closer to us came forward. Officials in Vermont say they are creating a task force to see if these sites could help save lives in their state. Now, it's not happening in Maine at the moment, but some think we should look into having these kinds of spaces here too. Tim Cheney of Gray Street Recovery Services spoke to me at his Sanford office about how he thinks safe injection sites can be a life-saving resource that reduce public health costs, bring users out of the shadows, and put them in touch with the help they need.
So would you like to be taking your child, taking a shortcut through an alley and find an addict lying there dead with a needle when he could have been in a medical facility because he has a disorder and having his injection supervised using sterile technique? People are observed when they're taking the injection. Nobody dies. So the question is, will we rather enable them or bury them?
Now, just down the road at the Sanford Fire Department, Captain Brian Watkins isn't convinced. He and his colleagues often have to use Narcan to revive heroin users when they respond to an overdose call. He thinks more can be done to get people the help they need without giving them a place to shoot up.
I think there are better ways to do it. Programs like that, just to me, enable people. I don't know how it can work, because there are going to be people that know how to play the game and cut the corners and go in there, do their thing, and then leave, and it still becomes our problem. It still becomes the police department's problem.
So clearly still, excuse me, a lot of questions surrounding this and a lot of people weighing in. You can talk to people, everybody really knows someone who's dealt with heroin in this state because the epidemic is so rampant. So we've been getting so much feedback. I know you guys are probably getting some. I don't have the computer in front of me, but probably getting some now.
I mean, Justin says, what about the potential for, a liability, a lawsuit that comes with these safe injection spaces?
Exactly.
Yeah, and Joe says it seems like a double-edged sword. One hand, we're trying to eliminate the problem, get people off of the drug, and providing them with a safe place could be defeating the purpose. So there are so many opinions about this, and obviously perspective for everybody individually has a lot to do with how they feel about it.
Right, and that's why we do this, so we can get the conversation out there and get people thinking about different sides. Actually, we sent our own Chris Costa to get a few of your questions answered, and he joins us now with more.
Yeah, guys, we got tons of comments, obviously, on this issue on our social media pages, so we brought them to Bob Fowler. He's the executive director of the Milestone Foundation. That Milestone Foundation runs Maine's only inpatient detox center. So we asked him your questions about the possible pros and cons of safe injection spaces.
Kelly says, this law does not make sense. Are we encouraging drug use? What's your thought on that?
I think it's a good question, and I think what we know is that people, when they're addicted, they feel this tremendous pull to use drugs. It has the prospect of reducing discarded needles, So the notion of a safe injection site can help just in general with public safety. And to the question, I think that for a lot of people who are addicted to a drug, an IV drug like heroin, having a safe injection site or not won't make the difference of whether they use or not.
Okay. Chuck says, addiction is a sickness. A safe place for them to use would be great. A clean place where they can dispose needles safely. A place just in case they overdose, they can get help. A safe place where disease won't be spread from sharing needles. All you who are against have not faced this with a family member or friend. And how difficult is it for family members and friends to try to help those who are suffering with a disorder?
Well, it's tremendously difficult, and we talk to family members every day, people who are desperate to see their loved ones getting help, and we know that there are just not enough services available for people who have substance use disorders to access treatment at all different levels. And that's just tremendously difficult for family members. I think that among the potential benefits of safe injection sites is that along with the kinds of benefits that were mentioned in the question, by having these sites staffed by medical professionals, the idea is that each time that an individual comes into a site like this, it's an opportunity for a medical professional to interact with that person, to encourage them to access longer term, to the treatment system, to get into detox, and to address any medical issues that they might be experiencing.
Bob is actually headed to Seattle next week for a conference. He says that he's going to ask his colleagues there about the idea that they're working with.
All right, thanks, Chris. And we know this is a topic, like we said, that has a personal connection to a lot of people.
After we lost my nephew, I really didn't think that we'd go through this again.
The heroin epidemic here is killing more than one person a day, and some families are hit more than once.
Tomorrow on Now, we'll bring you the story of an Army veteran who died from an overdose and how her mother is still looking for answers. That's tomorrow right here on Now.
Hey, let's switch things up. Let's get a first look at the forecast because it is downright cold outside. Where is spring, Keith?
Yeah, it's not to be seen for a little while. It's still in the 30s right now. We had a chance at a record today, kind of record you don't want to break, for coolest high temperature. It was 33, we got to 34, so we didn't quite get there. 30 in Augusta and 37 in Bangor. But these temperatures, a good 10 degrees below average, maybe a little bit more in some cases. Overnight lows won't be quite as cold as last night. Last night was brutal. We got to the single digits and even below zero in the mountains, which would be one thing for January and February, but obviously now rounding into late March, it's getting more and more unusual to have a truly Arctic air mass in place. It was a good looking day today. It looked like it was really nice out. Then you stepped outside, realized that wasn't the case. It'll be clear through the first half of tonight, and then clouds will roll in. Part of this system here, our pattern over the next couple of days is really messy. A couple of impulses along a warm front that will just rotate in. The first one comes in tomorrow afternoon. So we cloud up tomorrow morning. Here comes some snow tomorrow afternoon, and it will be snow even along the coastline to start. Probably a little bit warm right at the surface, so a lot of this won't really accumulate along the coast, but it will accumulate across the interior and into the mountains on the tune of a couple of inches. And then by Friday night, that rain snow line kind of pushes to the north. So guys, we'll talk more about this pattern, and there's no real signs of spring here in the near future.
All right, and just fear not, he feels better than he sounds. We talked about
He does.
that. He's okay. He's okay.
Right?
He's not faking it, apparently.
Well, we'll see. Hey, it's not cheap to own a car in Maine. Anybody who does knows that. From excise tax to registration to car inspection, It adds up. Well, today and tomorrow, the state legislature is looking at 2 proposals that would change the inspections law. One proposes that you only have to get your car inspected every 2 years instead of every year, and another one would just eliminate inspections altogether. Many of you have been weighing in on this issue. Jen says, all right, I wouldn't mind not having to get inspections on new or newer cars, but the vehicle inspections exist for public safety reasons. Some people would never repair their cars if they didn't fail an inspection at some point.
And Jeff says doing away with inspections completely is just not the answer. Every 2 years would be good. Robert says, I like the idea of every 2 years. I would even say every 3 years for cars less than 10 years old would be fine. Don't like the idea of eliminating them completely. Having them keeps dangerous vehicles off of our roads. Of course, we want to know what you think about inspection stickers, so head over to our brand new Now Facebook page and join in on that conversation. Hey, by the way, have you noticed all of the puppy pictures online today? It's just a day that ends in Y for me, but whatever.
That'd be every day. Well, today, of course, is National Puppy Day. So if you ever wondered why people are so obsessed with their dogs, we will actually chat with a psychologist and get to the bottom of this.
The babies.
Puppies are a lot of work, and we try really hard to educate adopters on the needs of the animal they're interested in. So with puppies, you have potty training, obedience training, socialization, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yes, we love our fix of puppies and dogs, even if it involves some elbow grease. That was Gina with the Animal Refuge League of Greater Portland, where they had 2 puppies this morning. But of course, they were adopted in just as many hours, and I'm sure it's not just because it's National Puppy Day. Normally, puppies at that shelter go pretty quickly. Now, you've seen everybody's best furry friends all over Facebook and all over Twitter today. Now, this isn't an exaggeration when I say more than 1,000 of you on our Facebook pages posted your dog pictures alone, and it's clear that these animals just mean so much to us. For News Center, our numbers on social media spike when it comes to animal stories. So I spoke with a psychologist about why that is, and he says that we associate puppies and kittens and all of our pets with innocence, and that's why it seems like we are way more empathetic to animals than to people at times.
In previous generations, the dogs, lived in the doghouse, and it wasn't something we would, give a second thought to. And, most people now, the animals, are up on the couch or in bed with us. They're very much, not quite a child, but a sense of the family. And that's something that we want to share with other people through pictures, through social media. That sharing aspect has become a very large piece of our life. And I think these animals have become a larger piece of our life than they ever were before.
Now, Lee, I'm more of a cat person, so I have a cat at home, but I hear you have like 10 dogs, so I might come over and borrow one if that's okay.
Yeah, I got both. It's just Noah's Ark at my house. I never had dogs ever, and now I have 4.
Right.
And I can't imagine not having
interesting
I can't
to
imagine
me.
not having a dog. No, 4 decades, no dogs, and now once I got the first one, now I have to.
It's all or nothing,
I can't
baby. It's all or
imagine.
nothing.
No.
Now, you actually have a very good perspective on this because you've got the kids and the dogs.
And the
a lot of
cats.
people consider their pets to be like kids.
Yeah, well, I got a lot.
You've got them all.
It's like a hoarding at this point, but they're really cute. Okay, serious question. Will it ever, ever, ever get warm again? Ever! Ever! All right, check out this email. It comes from Sling TV, and the company is urging users to write to their state legislators and oppose any new streaming television taxes, because you might be getting a message like that in your inbox soon. There's a chance you'll have to pay a tax to stream TV services like Netflix or Hulu or Sling.
So companies are warning against that potential tax, which is part of Governor LePage's budget plan for the state's general fund that would begin in 2018. Today we asked Mainers how they feel about the idea, kind of split.
Your favorite shows on streaming services like Netflix already cost money. A standard Netflix package is $9.99 a month. The governor's proposed budget plan for the 2018-2019 general fund would add a 6% tax to streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, or Sling TV.
We're all in this line. You're the only genius that got in the other line?
Not much, but it adds up to an extra $7.20 a year. Multiply that by the number of users in Maine, and it could total hundreds of thousands of dollars going to the general fund. But some people aren't a fan of the extra tax.
Because we get taxed on enough crap.
There's enough taxed things in Maine, you know.
How do you feel about that?
Others say it depends on what lawmakers would use the tax revenue for.
I mean, if it was going towards things that I wanted it to go to and not towards what they wanted it to go to, then yes.
It depends on where the money's going. If that is to support something good like that, I could go for it.
Hi, how are you?
Even some who got rid of cable and only have streaming support the potential tax.
And I think the tax on Netflix is definitely worth it. I'd still continue to pay even with the tax because it would help out not just in someone's pockets, it would help out, you know, the community.
Of course, no word on exactly how that money would be used yet. For the budget to pass, 2/3 of the legislature would have to approve it by the end of June. I have Netflix and Hulu, and honestly, like, if the tax helps me, I'm kind of okay with it. I mean,
It's not
just
going to be a
6%.
big tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes the taxes feel cumulative. Here, like I noticed since I moved back, it's just like a lot of little taxes.
Here's
so
another
maybe we're
tax.
better off just like jamming them together in a larger package.
I mean,
you know?
so like, 8 $5 taxes individually seem fine, but all of a sudden it's $40 and you're like, okay, wait a second.
Right, it just kind of,
It does add up.
like I got I think it was like a $2 tax bill from the city of Portland for water runoff. You know how water that goes into drains, and I'm like, it's not a lot of money yet. Did we need to print a piece of paper over this? Like,
Yeah.
it just gets a little much. But I use Sling TV, so if they need to tax it, I can live with that.
Buddy, you're losing it here.
I sound
huh?
terrible,
You're-
just terrible. See, you guys thought I wasn't sick.
You want to wrap it up?
I want an apology.
That's never going to
I know.
happen.
Yeah, I would never apologize either. All right, let's take a look outside. And I do feel better than I sound, just so you know at home. They're not making me work today. All right, 21 is the current wind chill in Rockland, 23 in Portland. A cold day despite full sunshine. That's what kind of amazes me as we head to the end of March, to get full sunshine with this kind of sun angle and stay in the 30s and the wind chills in the teens and 20s. It's kind of a feat to have that kind of Arctic air mass in place this time of the year. All right, here comes our next storm system. It's actually a little severe weather across parts of the Midwest. For us, it'll be a warm front that just lifts in tomorrow afternoon. It'll be largely snow for us, but it will be light snow, and it's going to be the beginning of a theme here for the next couple of days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're all under this same regime. There's a warm front to our south. It's called overrunning. The warm front gets overrun by that milder air into the colder air that drives the air upward. You get clouds, you get precipitation, and on the other side of the front, which is where Maine will be a little bit of light snow and a little bit of light rain. The problem with this kind of pattern is it just keeps going back and forth. The warm front kind of wiggles around. So it comes north on Friday, then back down south on Saturday, and back up on Sunday night and Monday. So with that is a corresponding precipitation. So this is how it looks. We cloud up through tomorrow morning. Snow comes in tomorrow night. It'll be light, but it will accumulate in some spots. And then as we head into Friday night, it pushes more northward. We get a break on Saturday. I think Saturday is a pretty good day, just a chance for a drop over York County. And then on Sunday afternoon, more precip moves in, and into Monday, a mixture of light rain and snow. So this is a better way to look at it. Your chances of precipitation tomorrow are high, quite low on Saturday, and then back up Sunday night into Monday, where it's likely to be a mixture of rain and snow again on Monday. All of this, all the way through Wednesday, doesn't add up to a ton, but it could be a couple of inches here from Millinocket to Greenville, and then an inch or so from Portland to Rockland. A lot of this will fall and then melt behind it. So it's kind of a hard pattern to kind of wrap your head around. This is how it looks on a 7-day forecast. Cloudy again as we head through Sunday afternoon, and again precip in through Monday, and maybe another round of showers on Tuesday. We should quiet things down on Thursday. But guys, one of the more active and kind of messy 7 days you'll see.
All right, thanks a lot, Keith.
All right, guess what? 3 days in a row, it's Rob Caldwell.
Hello.
This must be a big show if we get you. Well, yeah, it is, as a matter of fact. Coming up on News Center at 5:30, having a low unemployment rate is considered to be a good thing, right? Well, it is, unless you're an employer who's having a hard time finding employees. Some businesses in Maine today made a long trek in search of workers. We'll tell you where they had to go. And the bee kill-off in Maine this winter was substantial, but it's not because of the cold winter, it's because of what happened last summer. Marty McLean will explain that. Those stories and more all ahead on News Center at 5:30. We look forward to the sweetness of the 5:30. News Center now continues after the break. Oh, smudge. All right, welcome back. Today's Brain Drop's provided by you, because everybody yesterday wanted to know about the green screen. How does it work? How do you do it? Well, Look at that. Ask and you shall receive.
The people get what they want. So we're going to show you how this whole thing works, and we're going to have to break the fourth wall to do this. So a lot of you are seeing me on Facebook on the green screen, and this is a fascination that people have, from kids to adults, anyone we bring in a studio. So the basic premise here is I don't magically know where everything is. I have monitors. Jeff, if you can show them here on the side, that give me kind of an orientation. So I just look back here, it's green, but when I look to the side, I can see where they're at. That, and there's a monitor in the front. So the bottom line is you kind of time what you're going to talk about, you point out where you want to point out, and then you interact with the viewer here, and that way you kind of feel it out. The other thing is, now that I've been doing this long enough, I can kind of feel it out in general. I know where things are on the map. So if you drop this green screen, guys, coming in?
Well, no, I mean, so like if you're here, like how long does it take you to figure out like this is Augusta and Bangor is there, and like
you
know where everything is?
Maine's not bad. Like,
too much work.
If Bill dropped it, I bet I could figure out where Portland is, where, you know, just without looking. I kind of know where things are.
Oh, because you're so used to it now?
Yeah, like Portland's here, Down East is here, Caribou's here. So you're kind of in the vicinity.
By the way, this is also why you never wear green.
Yes. And I hope you took that lesson to heart, because the way my voice is, somebody else is doing weather.
I got
tomorrow.
I got it.
Lee's got it.
Forecast.
Yes.
Tomorrow is going to be awesome.